Thank you, Dina. I will share my screen. And as I share my screen, has anyone used Copilot before or any type of AI? I would love to know. You can just give me a thumbs up. I see a couple. Okay, perfect. So we're kind of familiar with it, some of us. Today's demo is really going to be about using Copilot for project management. So I'm going to take you through Whiteboard, Outlook, Word, and PowerPoint. And then I will share a couple of resources as well. And if you do want to see something else in the demo, feel free to just pop it in the chat, and I'm happy to try it out with you as well. Okay, so right now we're looking at Whiteboard. So, maybe you're just starting off a project and you are wanting to brainstorm ideas. So I went ahead and I already, generated a bunch of sticky notes on a project that we're going to get started with on SEO for a website. Now, what Copilot can actually do is, let's say, I'm dumping ideas into here, Dina's putting ideas into here, right? How do we now categorize all these brainstorming ideas together? If we actually go ahead and highlight all of this, Copilot, as you see here in the bottom, you can click categorize. So when you click categorize, Copilot's now going to take, all the ideas from different team members and actually set them in different categories. As you can see, we have SEO strategies, content optimization, keyword analysis, and then user experience. So now we can kind of see that we're starting to get more organized with our project. And thank you, Betty. SEO stands for search engine optimization, if anyone's curious. But now we do have our topics and buckets now. And right, this could have been, just a couple sticky notes, or it could have been, hundreds, I don't know, 50. So now we see they're all in categories. We can just go ahead and keep this. We're happy with it. You could still for sure move them around if you don't think they fit in this category, but now at least we have a good base. Now, what you also could do is summarize the content. Now, I'm hoping it does work. But when you summarize the content on the whiteboard page, it will create a loop page. I guess it didn't work today, which is okay because I do have a backup. So normally it would summarize all of this and it will create a page like this as a loop. So as you can see, has the participants who were in the whiteboard session, how many ideas were generated, and then we have, the key themes of our ideas when we were starting our project out. So let's say now you want to take your ideas and share it with your stakeholders. Giselle, I see a Loop page. Have you discovered Loop yet? If not, Microsoft Loop is, I would say it's like a Microsoft Teams and OneNote collaboration, I would say. So I can just quickly show this in case you guys aren't familiar with Loop. But as you can see, Loop will create, new pages for you. You have different spaces, different categories, and you have your notes here. And you can actually use Copilot in Loop as well. So if we want, maybe at the end of the demo, we can touch on this if you're interested in it. But for now, I will continue on with the summary loop that came from Whiteboard. So yes, this is the loop page that it did create. And again, this was from summarizing this whole page. It will create a loop page just like what you see right here. Now, what I was saying is, let's say we want to send our whiteboard to one of our managers or stakeholders on getting started with a project. For example, we can now go into Outlook. And Karen, I see you have a question. There are I believe, no additional license required for Loop. I might have to double check that. I'm pretty sure you should have access to it. Okay, so in Outlook, we are now, let's say we want to send that email out. So we're just going to draft with Copilot, and we are going to say, Draft an email about our completed whiteboarding session and ask the team to review the summary below. And with Outlook and Copilot, you can change the tone, so make it casual, neutral. You can change the length out, right? Short, medium, or long. Let's say we want to make it formal and medium. We're just going to click generate here. And I will show something really cool since I'm sensing that we're not familiar with Loop, which is totally okay. So here's the email we have, right? We can keep it, discard, or retry it. Let's say we keep it. We can just format it a bit. And what I wanted to show is if this was our page summary from the whiteboard, we can actually copy this Loop component into our Outlook. So here we have it copied. And for example, I can paste this Loop component right within my email. So now we have that summary we have the picture of our whiteboard, we have that summary, and I can, let's say, add a couple people, let's say Jane, Onyeka were also in this. Maybe there were 20 ideas generated. And what you'll see is in the Loop component, it is actually updating in real time as well. So as you can see, it's really easy for someone to, let's say I sent this to Dina, I sent this email to Betty. They can actually all edit this Loop here, and it will get edited at the same time in this page. So really, really cool thing you can do with Loop that way, right? And then we can send this off. Perfect. Now we are going to move on to Word. So that was, creating an email with Copilot in Outlook. Now let's just create some Word documents with Copilot in Word. So for example, here we have a Word document. Copilot sits with you throughout the whole page. So you'll see Copilot here. And that same box that we just saw in Outlook will pop up. You'll also see Copilot here in the top ribbon. Now, this is like a chat interface with Copilot about your Word document. So let's say you just got a Word document and you want to ask Copilot some questions about it. This is where you would use this Copilot. But if you're using Copilot to generate content, then you would use the draft with Copilot. So here we have a prompt, and I'm just going to put a prompt about create a project plan for me based on this program around implementing a collaborative PMO structure. Be sure to include a summary of the program, why the organization needs it, Catherine Kwan as the PM. Also include 3 goals for the program as well as a high-level budget and timeline. Make sure they are all in the table. So as you can see, there's a lot in this prompt, right? I'm telling Copilot exactly what I want, how I want it to be formatted, and we'll just go ahead and generate this. So here we have our project plan, collaborative PMM structure, right? I'm the project manager. We have the program summary. And as you can see, Copilot just doing its thing with the goals, the timeline, right? So now we have at least the structure that we can build off of, and we're not starting from scratch, right? And again, we can just keep this, regenerate it, or discard it. Let's say we just go ahead and keep it. And I also always like to mention this in my demos is that, remember, Copilot is here to assist us. They're not here to replace us. So, right, Copilot will be there to, get those first drafts started. But at the end of the day, you always need to make sure you're checking your work if you're using Copilot. Now, as you can see, let's say I wanted to add sections, Copilot is still here within the page, right? So we can go ahead and put another prompt and Copilot will generate that section for us. We can even ask Copilot to, if I highlight this, let's maybe rewrite this whole section. Maybe you don't like how it sounds, right? We can ask Copilot to do that for us. And then we could even just replace that right then and there. So now let's say we now have our project plan structure. Maybe we now want this in a PowerPoint format. So we're just going to copy this link right here, and we're just going to open up a PowerPoint. So again, very similar to all we've seen in the Microsoft 365 apps, Copilot shows in the top ribbon. If I click this, Copilot will open up in the side pane, and you'll see there's a couple prompts here. We can just go ahead and create a presentation from file, and you'll see all these files that I've already been looking at. Copilot will know, and we can search up ones, or like I just did, we can just copy and paste the Word document that we were just working on. Now, Copilot in PowerPoint does a not bad job. It will create a good amount of slides in a very short amount of time. There's also speaker notes that it will generate for you. And as you can see, like it's already going through the outline of our Word document, and it will start generating slides. So as I'm talking, another big thing that a lot of people ask about is branding. There is a way to get your brand guidelines with PowerPoint using Copilot. All you would need to do is go to the Design tab, and you would have to just select your theme when you upload your theme of your brand guidelines. And as you can see, Copilot generated 8 slides for us, included speaker notes, also added images, and applied layout. And if I pull this up, you'll see there are some agenda, there's some original content, right? This is where it's pulling that information from in the Word document. Program summary, program activities, program goals, and even budget and timeline that it took from the Word document. And you could also go to the Designer tab and change out the layouts of the design really quickly on PowerPoint. And if it loads, there we go. Oh, let's try that again. But just wanted to show there are ways you can easily format your slide differently if you didn't like the way, Copilot gave that slide. So there's a bunch of slides this way right here. Giselle, where are these images coming from? Are they free? Can we have them pulled images from a specific folder? So these are actually coming directly from PowerPoint. And if you go to insert pictures, stock images, all these pictures are coming from this bank. And you'll see here, as a Microsoft 365 subscriber, you have access to the full library of creative content. So you could definitely use all of these. Let's say, you want a picture of a laptop, for example. There's some people using laptops there. Hope that answers your question. Any other questions so far? Are you finding it interesting, or anything that's interesting of you that I showed today? Can we ask it to pull images from a folder we have? I don't think so. You might need to potentially put the images here, maybe. That could work, but I don't think you can ask Copilot directly. Okay, so I'm just going to show a couple of resources. That was the bulk of my demo for project management. But if you do want to see anything else, please let me know. Just put it in the chat. I'm happy to spend a little bit of time showing you a couple things. But in the meantime, I wanted to also show the Copilot Lab. So I can put this link in the chat. And this would be very helpful if you don't know where to get started with Copilot and you need help with your prompts. So Copilot Lab has a bunch of different prompts that you can use. For example, if I go here, you will see you can filter by different apps that you're using Copilot with, and the task, like maybe you want to create something or an app as well. And then I also wanted to show if you don't have Copilot yet for your mobile, you should definitely check that out too. So I'll just put this link into here.